The Barbados Workers Union seeking clarity from BAMC on the entity's retrenchment proposal. The Faculty of Humanities at UWI reporting a drop in enrollment. And in sports, Bailey's creates history in primary school cricket.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC Evening News. And our top story, the Barbados Workers Union is urging the Barbados Agricultural Management Corporation to come better as it relates to the retrenchment of sugar workers. Under the BAMC's retrenchment proposal, severance for these workers will be paid through the National Insurance Scheme. But the union's Deputy General Secretary and Director of Organizing, Dwayne Paul, says that the sugar workers have already been dealing with various issues, including low pay, and have very little to survive on. He says that the corporation has not been clear as to how these workers will be processed by NIS and how soon that they will receive their severance.
All we are hearing is that arrangements have been made for national insurance to pay the severance. The question is when. And although, yes, in the Severance Payment Act it says that there is 2 months grace period to pay severance, we do not believe that the sugar workers, who are some of the lowest paid workers in Barbados, because we're talking about workers who have been struggling to make ends meet because they have not been able to get 5 days work, to go and now have to sit down and wait for people to have to pay them.
And Mr. Paul was speaking following a recent meeting with the BAMC management for preliminary discussions on the company's proposal for restructuring. And a meeting with workers will be held on December 11th at 2 p.m. at Solidarity House. Mr. Paul says that more needs to be done for those workers.
These workers should have been given some form of retooling grant. In every land and mill study that looked at the sugar industry and looking at changing the sugar industry and reducing the complement in the sugar industry, also proposed that we look at having some mechanism for retooling these workers so that they can transition easy from what is a very specialized industry into something else. So I believe that that is also something that needs to be done for these workers. That has not yet been discussed, has not yet been fleshed out.
Well, with the official start only 9 days away, management at the Divi South Winds Hotel is looking forward to a bumper winter season. General Manager of the hotel, Alvin Jemmett, says that they have been busy completing upgrades to the property in anticipation of those arrivals.
My understanding is that this winter season is looking up and looking very good, and most people I've spoken to seem set for the winter. In terms of what we're doing here ourselves, we've just completed the upgrade to the majority of the rooms here at the hotel, and they're now back in circulation, so we too are ready.
And among the upgrades to the property was a cactus garden donated by the Barbados Cancer Society. Mr. Jemmett says that this season's performance seems set to outpace last year's.
Well, I've been following the performance all year, and from every turn that has been taken, we seem to be ahead of pace for the previous year, and I think that's a good thing. I think the true test of time will come in the future bookings for the next winter and the next summer. So we really have to keep our eyes on our booking pace and make sure that we stay ahead of the curve.
The Minister of Youth Affairs says that partnerships between the public and private sectors are critical to ensuring that young people have opportunities to find decent work. Adrian Ford says that his ministry has been working with entities both locally and abroad in an effort to address concerning levels of youth unemployment. One of the more recent partnerships has been with the Prince's Trust International, a London-based charity.
From all reports, these programs were a success, as we were able to provide short-term and long-term employment for a large number of persons in the pilot phase. Earlier this year, through an injection of funds from the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, we were able to offer our young people 3 additional programs in hospitality, retail, and logistics. The 3 programs combined facilitated soft skills, developmental skills, work experience, and employment opportunities for approximately 50 youngpreneurs. I will not call them young persons today. We have a new word. It's called youngpreneurs.
And Minister Ford was speaking during a ceremony to present the most recent cohort of the Get Into Logistics program with certificates. Representative of the Prince's Trust International, Rosanna Wakefield, says it's founded on the belief that all young people have the potential to succeed.
And so over the years, we've developed a number of programs and initiatives to support young people to do that. And 3 years ago, it was decided to see if that could resonate internationally and work internationally. So this was one of our very first partnerships. And yes, as was said, we're 3 years on and we're really, really pleased to be here. As Mr. Hunt said, you know, we've got things to work on. There's loads of learnings we have taken from those first 3 years. And we're meeting tomorrow to discuss, well, how can we make that better going into next year? What else can we do to help more young people like yourselves kind of get into that work that we all know is so necessary?
Barbados and the business community as a whole can expect to see renewed interest in issues related to health and safety in the workplace. This is according to the new chairman of the National Advisory Committee on Occupational Safety and Health, or NACOSH, Anthony Rochford. He says building on past work, NACOSH is ready to intensify its focus. One of the first areas of concern for Mr. Rochford is that the information the entity receives from its members doesn't appear to reflect the situation for the entire sector.
We want these people to be able to bring issues with respect. Say, for argument's sake, the Manufacturers Association. What are the issues in manufacturing that need to be addressed, that are not being addressed now? And therefore, I expect the Manufacturers Association to be bringing to the table issues in manufacturing that we can address. Now, the other one would be Small Business Association and the Employers Confederation. All of these organizations have the resources to capture safety and health issues within their organizations and bring to NACOSH.
And Mr. Rochford says that the committee is also concerned about the standards or lack thereof in workplaces.
We don't have many standards, and in terms of safety and health worldwide and internationally, standards are critical for enforcement. So if companies don't, and we don't have any standards, how we can force companies to comply with safety and health when we don't have the standards to enforce it, which puts the onus on us. And this is one of the things that we are going to be looking at, because BNSI, the National Standards Institution, is part of this committee. So they should be able to advise us in terms of standards that are in place, what they are working on, and as the discussions proceed, we will be able to advise the minister on where we have to go with respect to what is in existence now and how to go forward.
The Royal Barbados Police Force is seeking the public's assistance in identifying a person of interest who is believed to have been involved in a recent serious criminal matter, and they are therefore hopeful that the public can provide assistance in identifying the person seen here in this video clip. Anyone who can assist in identifying the person in this video is asked to contact the police emergency number at 211, Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477, or the nearest police station. Well, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment has granted an extension of a waiver of the penalties imposed for the late filing of annual returns to April 30th next year. For domestic companies, the waiver is for the years 2015, 2016, 2017 and 2018. However, the waiver for external companies will apply to the period January 1st, 2016 to December 31st, 2018. Now, according to the ministry, approval of the waiver will be granted on the condition that a company that has benefited from the waiver during the period will not be eligible for consideration again. In addition, outstanding returns should be filed with the Registrar of Companies no later than April 30th next year. Now, failing to comply will result in the waived penalties becoming payable forthwith to the Registrar of Companies. Well, many Barbadians who were touched in various ways by late Barbados Labour Party elder David Joey Harper turned up to pay their respects as his body was reposed earlier this evening at the Barbados Labour Party headquarters. When our cameras visited Roebuck Street, the city, in the early evening, we caught Barbadians starting to file in to get a look at the party's former chief executive officer. Among them was his wife, who declined to speak on camera. And Joey's coffin was draped in the red and yellow of the Barbados Labour Party, and the inside bore the words, "Come unto me, and I will give you rest," an excerpt from the book of Matthew. The former politician, social worker, activist and advocate for the disabled passed away last month at the age of 75. The removal of the controversial tipping fee to dispose of waste at the Sustainable Barbados Recycling Centre is expected to reduce the level of illegal dumping across the island. And that's the belief of the centre's public relations officer, Debbie Rind. The tipping fee was discontinued from this Monday.
Since the removal of the tipping fee, we have seen an increase in the waste that we receive to our pre-tipping fee level, just a little short of 100%, and we expect this to continue to increase so that we reach our pre-tipping fee level.
How important is the increase in saving the environment?
Oh, it's very important because you should see a reduction in the illegal dumping. You should see a reduction in waste being diverted to other areas where ideally waste should not be disposed of.
The Ronald Weeks Primary School is preparing its students to be leaders, critical thinkers and responsible citizens through the arts. And this is one of the objectives of its recently launched mural project. Rianne Phillips tells us more.
The project features 15 miniature murals depicting elements of the school syllabus from academics to sports and dance. It's the brainchild of teacher Daria Cave, but it has been mainly executed by the students.
We've tried to move the children's thinking to a multifaceted 21st century facing skill set, motivated really by the environment around us and appreciating the curriculum in all of its possibilities. We've erected 15 art installations around the school, all designed by the children. The teachers and the parents of the school helped in the installation, but the creation and the design was all the students doing.
Principal of Ronald Weeks Primary, Anderson Bishop, fully supports the project.
Educational research speaks to the important connection between art and craft and academic achievement. Art and craft have a positive effect on academic success. They contribute to improvements in reading and mathematics from early childhood education through to upper junior level if the program is sustained.
The final task for the students will be to complete this huge mural on the school's northern wall. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Well, it's the season of giving, and at least one charity will be getting some much-needed support for the holidays. This as the annual Stoosh Fashion Extravaganza comes off this Saturday, December 8th at the Divi South Winds Hotel. Now, proceeds from that show will go to benefit Jabez House as it continues to help ex-sex workers transition through vocational training. According to organizer of the event, Patrice Da Costa Fernandez, partnering with Jabez House was a perfect choice, and she says that there is potential for some further collaboration.
In terms of going forward, we have not discussed as yet, but that is something that I do with other charity organizations where I help with building having self-esteem, self-confidence, personal development sessions. So that's not something abnormal that I'm sure we will be doing going further, helping the women to get out in the workplace.
Meantime, Hilton Barbados Resort intends to bring cheer and be the home of memorable experiences for guests and locals alike over the Christmas period. Word of this from its general manager, Tammy LeBlanc, as the hotel officially kicked off its Christmas celebrations with its annual tree lighting ceremony.
Christmas is a time of the year that we associate with joy and expectation and wonder. It brings with us a warm glow that light up our hearts and makes our thoughts turn to family and to our friendships. And Christmas is past. Christmas is also a time when we begin to say goodbye to 1 year, as we call it here in Barbados, Old Year's Night, and to look forward with hope to a new year to come.
In just over a week, the grounds of the Dighton Griffith Secondary School will be converted into a Christmas wonderland. The inaugural event is being hosted by Islands Incentives and Meetings and Events Planning Company. Public Relations Officer Terry Ann Reid says that it will be fun for the entire family.
We will be transforming this school ground into an incredible wonderland with dazzling lights, caroling, and not to forget our favorite thing, food. We are so excited because this is an opportunity for us to be a part of something bigger, a community event that will encourage us to have an amazing community spirit.
And Ms. Reid was speaking during the launch at the school. Those in attendance were given a preview of what they can expect, with several performances by the Vauxhall Primary School. The event is being sponsored by the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited. Manager of Communications and Government Relations, Jackie Marshall-Clark, says it's part of the company's Brighten Your Christmas campaign.
We always encourage persons to brighten the community. And so with this event, we're actually bringing the community members out, we're bringing the schools out, we're actually bringing the choirs out, and we're all looking forward to that. For the next 2 weeks, our employees will be out and about in the community, reading to some students, cleaning up beaches, feeding, and a feeding program as well. And again, that's all a part of the Brighten Your Christmas campaign for Barbados Light and Power Company.